Bethany, and welcome back to Wellness Path Witchcraft. On this channel, I talk about all things to do with spirituality, wellness, and witchcraft. So if that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and a comment, and let's get started. So today I want to talk about my favorite witchcraft or spirituality tools. So like these are the tools that I use most often in my witchcraft or in my spells and my spirituality, even just kind of on a daily basis. So a lot of people think that to practice witchcraft you need tons of different tools and tons of different things for different spells and just tons of different things, like all these things, and it's not true. You can pick and choose what you want to use and what you don't want to use. It's completely up to you. It's completely based on your preferences, on your budget, anything like that. But these are just the things that I prefer to use in my practice. These are the things that I'm most called to and that really kind of resonate with me and resonate with kind of my goals in my witchcraft. So first, let's talk about spells and rituals and the tools and things that I use for those types of things. So my first and most often used tools are candles. And so I use mostly tapered candles, and I use all kinds of different colors based on color magic. You can get any kind of colored candles from anywhere, the dollar store, you can get them from Walmart, you can get them from specialty like witchcraft stores. You can even use birthday candles. I've heard of that, and I actually have been thinking about considering purchasing some birthday candles for that purpose. These are red. Red has to do with passion and love and lust, and I don't use red a lot because that's kind of scary to me. Red is a very intense color in color candle magic, so actually I don't think I've ever used red. But that's just me. I just kind of like to stay away from that a little bit. White is the most common color of candle you can probably find. And white has to do with kind of purity and protection. And it also can be kind of used for any type of spell. So if you want to do like a candle spell but you don't have the right color candle, you can use white and it'll work just as well. I also have these chime candles. And these are ones that I specifically bought at a metaphysical store. You could probably also buy them online, but these are specific colors. I used to have a lot more, but these are just kind of what's remaining. I have a red. See, I haven't used it. And I have a light blue and a dark blue. Blue has to do with calm, peace, communication, because it corresponds with the throat. It corresponds with the throat chakra. There are all different colors of candles you can use, pretty much any color that you can think of, and they all have different correspondences. You can look up like color candle magic or color correspondences for magic or something like that, and you can kind of get an idea of, if you're wanting to do a spell or a ritual, what color candle to go with. And then obviously if you don't have access to specific fancy colors, you can, like I said, always use white. White is just kind of a go-to for anything that you don't have the right color for. The next most common thing that I use in a lot of spells and rituals are oils. So these are essential oils. Some of these are just regular essential oil you can find kind of anywhere, and then a couple of them are like specialty oil blends that I got at a metaphysical store that have their own specific intentions. And so I only have a few because I don't buy oils very often, specialty or otherwise. I'm actually kind of running a little bit low on a lot of them, so I kind of probably need to restock. But I have lavender, which has to do with calming and protection, healing, clarity. It also helps with sleep and aromatherapy. And then I have 2 tea tree oil. I think these are just ones that I just happen to have for some reason. Purification, protection, and strength, like mental strength, emotional strength, physical strength, any kind of strength. Like if you need some type of strength, this is the go-to. I have Van oil, which is an oil that I specifically bought from a metaphysical store for a specific spell. It was a spell that I was really wanting to do and that I just went out of my way and specifically bought that one for. I don't do that a whole lot, but I don't know, I was really drawn to the spell. So, and then I also have love and attraction. And so this one I don't use a whole lot. I really like the smell of it. It's very floral, and I think it has a lot of rose in it. It'll help with self-love, any type of love or connection that you're wanting to bring. I don't deal a lot with love spells. I don't like to deal a lot with spells that affect other people, especially like against their will. So that's something I kind of stay away from. And then also for spells, I use a lot of herbs. Herbs are really easy because you can find them at the grocery store pretty easily. Often if you get the little like plastic bags of herbs, especially like at like Mexican markets, they can be really inexpensive. So I only have a few selections of the herbs that I have. I don't have like an entire spice rack or anything like that. Like I'm not completely stocked up, but I just kind of brought like the main things that I use in my spells just to kind of show you guys. So first I have bay leaves. Bay leaves are a very popular ingredient in spells or rituals. It's used very commonly in like wish spells. So for these, mostly the only thing I ever really use them for is you write your intention on the leaf. Be careful of your wording, obviously, because you know, be careful what you wish for. But you write your intention on the leaf and then you burn it, and then that's the whole spell. It's just like a wish spell. Another herb that I use a lot in spells and rituals is spearmint. I think you can also use just any type of mint for like interchangeably with this. I've kind of like done this little hack where if I happen to have like a mint tea that is just like, you know, an herbal tea that's just mint in a little tea bag, if I'm feeling like I need that but I don't have any actual mint on hand, I can just cut open the tea bag and use that for the mint. Spearmint is good for cleansing, health, luck. I use it for like prosperity, and it's also good for attracting positive energy. So it's all kind of has to do with like attracting good things into your life, prosperity, luck, health, all that. So and it smells really good. Next, cinnamon. Cinnamon is a very easy herb to come by, especially in its ground form, which you can use either ground or in cinnamon sticks. I actually kind of prefer the cinnamon sticks in some spells. For the most part, I use it for kind of spells that I'm wanting to happen a little more quickly. So it kind of accelerates the magic process and kind of brings your intention into your life a lot quicker. So it's really good for that. It's also very good for love. I didn't really know that, and I don't really use it for love spells. Like I said, I don't do a lot of love spells. But yeah, I guess it's good for that, and it's also good for protection. And then another herb that I use for a lot of my magic, especially in bath spells or like bath rituals, that I use to kind of promote self-love, because I do a lot of like self-love spells because I feel like those are really important. So one thing I use for that are you can't really see a label here because I don't have one, but rose petals or like rose buds. So these are a little packet. I have rose buds that I got at a Mexican supermarket. So I use that for that, mostly just kind of sprinkle it in my bath. And yeah, and if you didn't know, rose has like the highest vibration of any, I think, plant or anything. I don't know, it's very, very high vibration. So it helps to elevate your vibrations, which always brings like very good things into your life. So I like rose. I like to work with it, and I love the smell of rose. Can't really smell these, but especially with like the oil, the love oil, it smells so good. Another thing I like to use in spells and rituals is joss paper. So joss paper is also called ancestor money, and it's something that I've used maybe a couple times. But joss paper or ancestor money is this type of fake money. Obviously this isn't real money, but it is supposed to represent money, and it's supposed to represent the amount that it says on the bill. You burn the money and it goes into the spirit realm to your ancestors, and they can use that to pay karmic debts off, or they can use that as like a financial blessing, and then they are able to bless you and guide you, allow more blessings into your life. So please your ancestors, honor them, and they will honor you. Now let's move on to divination. Divination is one of my favorite types of magic. It's probably the most common type of magic that I do. I have a couple different forms of divination, and my favorite is tarot. So I have a tarot deck. I don't have the box because I've had this deck since literally high school. So I use my tarot deck at least weekly for my weekly readings on my Instagram. I do 3 card, sometimes 4 card spreads if a 4th card pops out, about what the upcoming week entails, and those are posted on Friday of each week, pretty much each week. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. It gives me a lot of good practice for tarot readings. I also do personal tarot readings on my Etsy shop if you want to check that out. I will link it in the description. I'm sure you know some about tarot. They all have specific meanings. They all have different images. Whether the cards come out right side up or upside down affects the meaning of the cards. And there are different types of spreads you can do. I don't work a whole lot with different types of spreads, but I work very closely with my cards, and I feel like I have a deep connection with my cards. That's kind of scary. I feel like I have a very deep connection with my cards because I use them so often. And so my second most used type of divination are oracle cards. I saw this deck and I was so drawn to it that I had to have it. Like, I had to have it then. And I'm so glad I bought it because it resonates so well with me. And it's called the Ancient Feminine Wisdom deck, and it has in it a lot of different images of different female figures in different types of mythology. And so oracle cards are a little different than tarot cards. A similar idea. They're all different cards and they all have different meanings and different images on them, but they vary from deck to deck. So this deck isn't like another oracle deck. If there was another oracle deck, it would have a different like images on different ones with different meanings, and they all generally have kind of a theme. I really feel like if you go out and get an oracle deck, that I feel like it's very important that it's a deck that resonates with you and that you're very drawn to, and that you don't just kind of like pick one out because you feel like that one will work. But that's just how I feel. Next, my actually like most brand new type of divination that I use, the one that I have not a lot of experience with but I'm super interested in starting to work with a lot more frequently, is this. So I bought this maybe like a month ago or so, maybe more than that. Time is difficult, but I have always wanted one of these, and I finally found one. And I found one that I could afford and that was a good size, and I was so excited. So I have a crystal ball. The type of divination that you use with crystal balls is called scrying. So scrying can be done with crystal balls. It can also be done with like black mirrors or like smooth reflective black surfaces, and it's basically kind of like gazing, just kind of not focusing, zoning out and waiting to see what images come up. So beyond spells and divination, I have some miscellaneous spiritual or witchcraft tools that I use fairly regularly. I have a couple things that I like to cleanse with, and so what I mostly use is I have Palo Santo, which I like to burn. I love the smell of it. From what I understand, it may be endangered, and so this is something I bought a while back, and I'm not sure that I will ever buy it again. So if you don't have that, you can also use just incense, and you can use any type of incense. You can also just burn a candle. You can also cleanse things with like your intentions, just kind of like focusing positive energy or focusing cleansing energy on something. So really there's a lot of ways you can cleanse different items or cleanse the energy of an area before a ritual or a spell, or just in general. So don't think you have to go out and buy something like this. Another thing I like to use for witchcraft, another tools, I have a very small selection of the crystals that I own here, so don't think that this is like all my crystals, because it's not. I have a lot. I just kind of wanted to bring like the main ones that I kind of work with. Those are the main ones that resonate with me, and kind of give you an idea of what they look like and what I use them for. And so my most commonly used crystals are actually these two. I have a not very large, but a fairly large quartz cluster, and also a very large, I would say very large, rose quartz. And I use these primarily in bath rituals. I think I've mentioned before I do a lot of bath rituals. I also just use them kind of in regular baths because they help with, this one specifically helps with self-love and kind of opening your heart and your heart chakra. and allowing good things to come to you. And then the quartz crystal is just kind of like a good amplifier crystal. It amplifies the intentions that you might be having, or any other properties of other crystals. It's also a crystal that can be used in place of any other crystal, so it's just kind of like a wild card crystal. You can use it for anything. Next, I have amethyst. And if you're interested in getting some crystals for yourself, I have a lot of these varieties in my shop. In addition to, I think I have like some different ones as well. So please see the link in the description or the link in my channel page and check them out, because I have a lot. Either start your collection or build your collection. And so another one I have is this Amethyst Cluster. And amethyst is a good kind of calming, balancing crystal. It's also good for intuition and like psychic abilities. It's good for like higher wisdom, developing your spirituality, that type of thing. It's also commonly known as the sobriety stone, commonly used by people who are suffering from or have suffered from like addiction or like bad habits or tendencies, and it kind of helps them overcome those types of habits or addictions or tendencies. I'm not saying that you should use this as a replacement for like actual, like if you need rehab or actual medical or psychological help for that type of thing, but it is something that can be helped, maybe even to just like maintain sobriety. Another one of my very favorite crystals is selenite. So selenite is, I don't know if you can tell how beautiful and like shiny, and it's very pretty. It's one of my favorite crystals because of its like glow. It kind of glows. It's a very energizing crystal, and it's good for charging other crystals that are around it. It's very cleansing. It's also a very good crystal for contacting or getting making stronger connections with your spirit guides or enhancing your spirituality in general. And not only that, but I don't know if I had mentioned, it's also a very beautiful crystal. I actually have these selenite wands in my shop. If that's something you're interested in and you want to purchase a selenite wand for yourself, then please see the link down below or my channel page thing and check it out. Another crystal that I like to use for my witchcraft and my spirituality is pyrite. So pyrite is a really good crystal that's known for its ability to attract abundance or money. It's also very good for luck, and it's also very good for banishing negative thoughts or limiting beliefs. These are also in my shop. You can check those out. And it's also a very pretty stone. It's very shiny. Finally, a crystal that I actually consider my favorite type of crystal, and this is actually my favorite little specimen of it, is apatite. So apatite is a crystal that's very good for manifestation. It's good for creativity. It's good for communication and trying to get your ideas out, because it corresponds with the throat chakra because it's blue. It's also a very beautiful color. It's great for creatives and artists. I'm hyping it up a lot because I love this one. I do have some apatite palm stones, which are kind of like these large kind of rounded stones that I have in my shop. And then finally, another miscellaneous item that I use a lot in my witchcraft and my spirituality are journals and notebooks. So I have 3 journals / notebooks that I use very regularly for my witchcraft. The one I use most frequently is just this regular journal. This one I just consider a journal. I write a lot of manifestation scripting, writing down in present tense things that I want to happen in my life, or things that I want, goals that I want to achieve. Writing them down in present tense helps with manifestation. I also write a lot of gratitude in here, readings for my tarot or different types of divination. I do shadow work in this journal, things that I'm wanting to overcome, or thoughts or beliefs that I don't really quite understand about myself. Another journal that I use, my second most frequent, it actually should be my most frequent because I should be using this on a daily basis, or pretty much on a daily basis, is my dream journal. I have this specific journal for my dreams. So I'm very good at remembering my dreams. For the most part, every day when I wake up, I at least remember like tidbits of my dreams. And what I try to do is write down my dreams in as much detail as possible, so I can look back on them and see if there are any correlations with things that have arisen in my life since I dreamed that. I also do dream work, so if I do like a dream spell, I can write it down in here. Sometimes for dream work, I will ask my spirit guides or my higher self a question or some advice to give me while I'm in the dream world, like the night before, like before I go to sleep. And I will dream, and then in the morning I'll wake up, write that down, and that kind of sometimes helps give me guidance and advice as to what the answers might be. And then finally, the journal that I use probably the least frequently, but honestly should be using a lot more often, is my Book of Shadows. A Book of Shadows is a journal or a notebook where you can write down all the things that you learned while practicing witchcraft. So that means different correspondences, different spells that you're wanting to remember, things that you learn about the zodiac, pretty much anything you can think of that has to do with your witchcraft and your path. And you can write it down in here so it's easily accessible. You can go back and look on it, reference that if you're needing some type of information that you've written down. So I have written down some correspondences, a little bit of general information, and a few spells that have very resonated with me. Other than that, I don't write in this a lot. I probably should write in it more often. But it's something I'm kind of wanting to reserve for things that are very important, things that stick out a lot to me, that I'm definitely wanting to notate and remember. And that's okay. Use it however you want. That's completely up to you. So if you have a Book of Shadows, it's completely up to you how you use it. The possibilities are endless. And so that is it. That is all I have for you today. Those are all the most common tools that I use in my spirituality and my witchcraft and practice. These are also my favorite tools. These are the ones that resonate most with me, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you have any questions or are interested in some crystals, reach out to me. If you have any spiritual tools in your collection that I didn't have, and you're wanting to let me know about it, if you have anything interesting that you use specifically for your witchcraft and your magic, let me know. I would love to hear it. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in all things to do with spirituality, wellness, and witchcraft. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ugh.